QI Phase 7. This is 6 collection. We do have a little imbalance on the happiness, which we anticipated. On the map, we're still running into that troop node, so I donated a few archers, and then just from battle, you can see that I'm starting to injure some as well. So probably a good time to run troops when we make the changes that we're going to make. Two different ways we could do this. We could delete a butcher, build an amphitheater, but the end goal of this is to end up with arch number 4, so it's kind of an extra step that's unnecessary. We'll just collect and delete 2 tile houses. That'll get us the happiness that we need. Okay, so Euphoria, we can finish collecting now. Roads do cost resources, remember, so we need to move these, but we don't need to delete them necessarily. Let's move this archer in here. We have enough resources to do a farm this round, but I don't really want to have to manipulate happiness every single round, especially as we start upgrading housing even more. So let's get the arch out of the way right now. Run. I don't know, 5 cycles of archer probably. Maybe 3. I guess we'll stop at 3. Let's see. We have enough resources to do 3 cottages, and we have enough population to delete 3 houses as well, or 3 tile houses, sorry. Let's just delete those. And don't actually need to delete this one. We're just going to rearrange it. One, 2, and 3. So that's pretty much it for this, the changes this round. We could plant Ballista on the next cycle, but so far those are holding up pretty well. I had 29 to start, and I haven't killed any of them, so they're all gonna, I've injured all of them, but they'll be able to heal, so no need for Ballista this round. We do have this goods building still planted, so that's something that we could rearrange some roads if needed, and be able to fit in a Ballista camp in there if necessary. So let's do the math on our upcoming collection real quick. We'll get the same 200,000 in supplies that we've been getting, because we haven't made any changes on that. And then 230 coin on the upcoming collection. So we're starting to pull ahead pretty consistently on the coin side, which is really what we're after in order to be able to plant the farm. So this round I had enough resources at the beginning to plant a farm, but we would have been struggling with happiness, so go with the amphitheater. That'll give us the happiness flexibility to adjust these houses into probably cottages at this point. We did have the ability to plant a villa, but I'm going to come back to that. I just went with the 3 cottages instead. And the nice thing with accumulating this coin, kind of starting to snowball it, is that when we do buy a farm for 200,000 coin on our next cycle, we already have 119 available. So after we buy that farm, we'll still have 150,000 coin available. And after the 50,000 from the supply side for the cost of the farm, we'll end up with 150,000 of each resource still available. So the nice thing with doing it this way is that it's a sustainable um, upgrade, because the problem with villa and farm is that even though they're top producers, they take 10 hours to cook. So unless you are willing to rush those, and I typically don't, unless you're willing to rush those, you your upcoming collection is going to be super imbalanced. So all the supplies that you think you need, you're not actually going to get until two collections later. So the nice part with doing it this way is that we've built a sustainable foundation in our city, that after we make that, plant that farm, we still have enough resources in both categories to print more archers, run a couple ballista if we need to, which we probably will, because we're starting to get into higher levels on the map. So we're probably going to need some troops, some goods donations potentially. At least in the old system, in this new map, there's no you're never obligated to donate goods, so this isn't a huge factor in the new system, but we are still obligated to donate troops at least twice per day on the map. So having this extra 150 of each resource after building the farm allows us to still make the improvements that we need in our city. Does that make sense so far? So after next round, we'll delete a butcher and a tile house, plant the farm, and we'll lose supplies on the collection after that. We'll be down to 190 or whatever without the influence of the butcher there. But on the upcoming collection, we'll be back up to 280 whatever supplies over the 230 coin that we've established this round. So at that point, we'll be getting enough supplies to plant 2 villa from that collection, and just kind of alternate back and forth between using the surplus coin from upgraded houses to plant farm number 2, use the surplus supplies from farm number 2 to upgrade our last few houses. Does that make sense on all that so far? Let's check our expansion cost. So 180, which is actually really not bad. We still have some surplus iron from the last round that I accidentally printed too much of. So we would only need 160,000 of each resource in order to get another expansion, which at this point would just be arches and victory towers in the end game. I don't usually plant the victory towers until like the last 3 days of the season, and they're really hard to sustain on happiness. So planting them early on kind of competes with your ability to upgrade housing. Obviously, we have space for the towers, but it'll compete with our happiness capacity to upgrade housing. So I don't usually plant those to the end, and I do it in a way that I don't really need the full collection anymore. Like at that point, I've already accumulated enough troops or goods or whatever that I can just do a complete collection with 120% happiness if I need to, and it won't really make a difference. That's kind of my end goal strategy. But at this point in the game, we're not going to do that. We would just use these expansions to plant more arches, and then upgrade the rest of our housing to villas. In a perfect world, ideally, I would have 3 farms. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that on this layout just because of where the obstacles are. If I am able to do that, I think it'll be this location with arch and an aqueduct behind that probably. But we'll see. I don't know that that's going to happen this round. It's also not a huge necessity. After our second farm, we'll be getting 380k supplies roughly, somewhere in there. So the third farm is maybe not entirely necessary. We'll see when we get there though. That was it for phase 7, so collection number 6. Pretty small adjustments the last few phases that we've been doing. The main goal, just to reiterate, we've had the resources to plant either a villa or a farm at multiple points during these phases. But the limitation with doing that, especially if you're using those resources instead of buying expansions, theoretically, let's just say that we start off with our original city pattern and only get 3 expansions. The way I've been doing it, we've added an additional, how many? 2? Yeah. Is that 2 or 1? I guess that's 1. So we've added 1, 2, 3 expansions, plus the original 3 that we started with. So we've added 6 expansions total. The temptation to plant that farm as soon as you can is going to chew up an entire grid by itself. And combined with the fact that you won't be able to collect it on the next cycle, we're left with a pretty bare bones collection from the remainder of the city. So the nice thing about using those resources to get extra expansions is that now we've increased the overall production of our city as a whole to the point where spending half of a collection and an entire grid square on a farm is still going to leave us with 150,000 of each resource at the end of that process in order to do the other parts of the game like archers and stuff. So that's the nice thing about doing it that way. If you guys want to plant a farm on phase 2, be my guest, but in the long run, I don't think it's balanced. You'll end up spending basically all of your coin early on before we've not only upgraded houses to cottages, but also added additional housing. Because if you remember from phase 1, we start off with, I think it's 5 or 6 houses that we start off with, and we're up to 14 now, and with complete happiness, right? So the downside with doing that farm early on is that you're going to use all of your coin on that one purchase. The farm is not going to produce coin, obviously. It's a supply building, so it's not going to restore the coin that you've invested, and you'll be even farther behind from the arch that you need in order to be able to upgrade your housing and recuperate some of that coin cost. Does that make sense? So if we do it the other way around, build the arches first, and then keep planting arches, keep planting expansions and arches, we'll be able to upgrade our housing to the point where spending 200,000 or even 400,000 in coin on a single collection really doesn't even make a scratch in it. Does that make sense? So I think that's it for this round. I will see you in about 10 hours for phase 8. We'll stop at phase 10, I think, because from there it's pretty much rinse and repeat with the expansion arch pattern. So we'll stop at phase 10, but we'll be up at phase 8 next cycle. So talk soon. Bye, guys.